You're up. So what we're going to do today is I have a relatively short presentation on marketing your website and doing marketing in the web domain in general, and how it's different from your brick and mortar operations and traditional marketing practices. And so we'll go through that, and when I finish the lecture, there's a quiz out on Canvas for you to take. It does require a password. You'll see it pop up here in a little while. But you'll need a password, and I'll give you the password at the end of the presentation. So what I'd like you to do is take the quiz first after the presentation, and then use the remaining time to work on your project one, your photo editing project. And so that's what our goal is for today, is to do that. So we want to talk a little bit about how web marketing your website differs from what you might do in a traditional campaign and marketing campaign. I like to call this how to part people and their money. When we think about marketing a website, there's 4 principles for marketing in the digital age that kind of apply to both planning our website and how we're going to get people to find us and notice us, and also as how we market products from our website to people. And so the 4 principles that we're going to talk about are, first of all, clarifying our business objectives. Why this is important in the website world is that many websites use non-traditional revenue streams. So many times we're not selling a product or service as the way to monetize our website. Sometimes we're monetizing our websites by having a lot of people click on links from our website, and we get a royalty for every click that comes from our website, or sometimes referrals. There's a lot of ways to monetize a website rather than just sell products or sell services. And so we need to make sure that we understand what our business goals are, our objectives, and how that fits into our marketing strategy for our websites. One thing to be aware of is that many marketing companies will offer to market your website, but a lot of them use a one-size-fits-all marketing strategy, which is really designed for product sales or service sales. So that might not fit if that's not your intended revenue stream for your website. So you might want to be aware of that if you decide to go with an external marketing firm, that you don't necessarily rely on somebody that has predetermined the appropriate marketing strategy for your website. One way to look at websites and evaluate them and see if your marketing strategy that you choose, if it's being effective, is to look at 3 key metrics associated with websites. The first key metric is awareness. So you survey people and you find out how aware they were of your website, how they found your website, and if you find that a lot of people weren't aware of your website and somebody had to refer them, then you might want to work on the awareness portion of your marketing strategy. Of course, sales, if you're selling things, is an important metric, and advocacy is another important metric in the online domain. Advocacy generally loosely means customer referrals, but it's not only customer referrals, it's any referral to your website. How did people find you when they came to your website? Did a customer refer them? Did another business refer them? We'll look at some more examples of that a little later on. But we want to know, are people actively promoting our website after they've experienced it? If they're not, then there's a reason that they're not, and we need to figure that out and fix it. If they are actively promoting our website to other potential customers, that's a great thing. So that's all one principle, clarifying our business objectives. Beyond that, we want to form innovation teams and use those to identify and leverage emerging opportunities for our website. many websites depend on being innovative and different to distinguish them from other players in the market. And so we need to find ways to do that. But when we're trying to be innovative, we need to make sure that we decouple our marketing strategy from our innovation activities. One of the missteps that a lot of websites make is the executives behind the website lead the innovative teams. And executives are good at strategic thinking and building the overall strategy for your website. But sometimes that very capability that makes them so valuable as executives tends to make them a hindrance to innovative practices, because they're very focused on what has worked well and what are known factors that they can control in a long-term strategy. So they're blinded by their strategic vision, so to speak. And so we typically don't want a corporate executive to be the champion of an innovative team. We typically want younger people that have a connection to whatever our website's purpose is, but they're not constrained by their previous knowledge and previous conceptions of how the website should work. So they come up with novel ideas and ways to do things. We do want executives involved, but executives are kind of, after the innovative ideas are initially developed, the executives will kind of vet them and see if they align with the strategic vision of the organization. Innovation in and of itself is a messy business. You should expect a lot of innovative ideas to turn into failures along the way. Only a small handful of the innovative ideas will actually get put into business on the website. Because of that, you don't want to invest heavily in these innovative ideas until you've kind of fleshed them out and made sure that they're actually going to work and go into production to benefit your website. You don't want to invest heavily until there's a high likelihood of success. And this is a potential issue with having executives involved in your decisions. Executives have a lot of access to resources, whether it be money, people, equipment, things of that nature. And these executives will sometimes throw a lot of resources at an innovative idea in order to force it to be successful. And that's not generally a really good recommended strategy. You want to let the idea, the innovative idea, incubate and develop, and when you need resources, go to an executive and request the resources you need, and then you'll more than likely be able to develop the best innovative ideas at a reasonable cost. You need to build a market asset beyond a specific product. Many websites start as a sales platform for a specific product. So you sell one thing that may turn into a related line of products that are all built around a similar purpose. But chances are, once you have products, no matter how great your product is or how unique your product is, it won't take long for competitors, especially international competitors, to build a cheap knockoff of your product. And so you can't maintain that product supremacy for very long. It tends to be a cyclical thing. You have to develop new products continually, and somebody's always nipping at your heels with a competing product that's maybe a little cheaper, sometimes even a little better, because they took your product and built on top of your product to make it better. And so you have to anticipate that. And one thing you can do is move the focus of your website away from pure product sales to a community of followers. You want to give the users of your website an opportunity to participate in the operation of the website. A lot of websites have expert communities of users that provide tutorials on how to do things with the product that you sell or market. They provide expert help to other customers that are having issues with the product. And there's a lot of ways that you can incentivize people to be a part of that community and lend their expertise. I use the example sometimes of video card manufacturers. If you go out to a lot of the video card manufacturer sites, you'll find that they have forums related to the different products that they offer. A lot of the people answering user questions on the forums are other customers. In fact, the company may have an employee that moderates the forum, but that employee may, when they see a question, they may refer you to a specific customer that they know has expertise in that area and can help you overcome your issues. And so they use those customers to support their larger customer base, those expert customers. One thing they might do is incentivize those customers by providing discounted products or free products when they have a new release, or providing early access to new features, things of use them as beta testers and things of that nature. And so they build a relationship with these customers, and that builds a sense of community around your products and your website. One nice thing about building that sense of community is, even though a customer or a competitor can make a copy of your product virtually overnight, it's very difficult for them to build a competing community. There's usually, for any given market sector, there's usually only a small handful of communities built around that market sector. So if you're able to establish yourself as one of the community destinations, you're likely to have a long-term existence and be profitable. So you want to make sure you do that, along with having good products. Try to build an active community that becomes an asset for your website. You want to attract users to your website, and a little later on I'll talk about two types of marketing that are pretty much focused in the digital world: buzz marketing and viral marketing. I should have got off this. So these first four were marketing strategy items, so 4 marketing strategy items. Now we're going to look at a 5-step process for successfully marketing your website or web business. You need to attract users. Again, we'll look at buzz marketing and viral marketing and the differences between those here in just a minute. Once you attract users to your website, you need to make them comfortable enough to buy products. There's a lot of websites that I'll go to and look at information about products, but I don't really feel good about giving them my credit card information or my personal address, phone number, email address, things of that nature. So I'll look at information, but then I'll go somewhere that I feel pretty comfortable with to actually make a purchase. Who do I feel comfortable with? Well, maybe it has to do with the overall quality of the website. If there's not many mistakes on the web pages, if they look clean, if they look polished, if it looks like a professional business, I'm more likely to do business with them. I might also look at what we call trust seals. And trust seals are just emblems that we put on our site that say some other recognized authority has vetted our site and said that it meets best practices for either business practices, privacy practices, security, something of that nature. VeriSign is a very popular trust seal saying that your secure e-commerce functions can be trusted. McAfee has a trust seal related to malicious code on the website. We've scanned the website and we certify that this website is free of malicious code, and the last time that we checked it was this day and this time. And so they put that out there on their website to show that you should be comfortable sharing information with them and making a purchase on the website. Really though, it's just a customer perception thing. We don't know that gives us any real mark of safety, but it's just one indication that it does. The more unscrupulous sites can simply copy those trust seals from other sites. You know, you look at a web page and you can right-click on it in most cases and get the source code, and you can copy that image for the trust seal and put it on any other website. And so there's not a lot of real veracity to those, but it gives the fact that you've taken the time to put them out there and you're touting your connection with these recognized authorities in relation to security or privacy or whatever, tend to make people more comfortable buying products on your website. Once you have people ready to buy, you want them to stick around the website. You don't want them to just purchase something and leave. So we call that factor stickiness in terms of websites. And it's essentially a combination of how often people visit a website, how frequently they visit, and how long they stay when they do visit. And it ends up being a good measure of site value. If you're creating a business plan for your market site, maybe to seek funding to build the website or something like that, people are going to want to know, the people that review the business plan are going to want to know, what kind of stickiness do you expect? How often is a particular customer expected to visit the website, and how long will they stay? Sometimes you guess at what these are for an initial business plan, but a lot of times if you're in operation and you're seeking to expand and you're seeking additional funding for expansion, you'll report actual figures that you've experienced on your website. Another thing you want to do to make your website successful is you want to leverage what we call alliance marketing. And alliance marketing is simply the concept of having two businesses in different domains that link to each other and form a marketing alliance. And so we can call this the you link to me, I link to you principle. A good example of that might be, let's say you have a car dealership. And the car dealership knows that one of the first things that its customers do when they buy let's say used cars in this instance. So when I buy a new used car, one of the things I might do is replace the tires and maybe the rims that are on the car with something new. And so as a used car dealer, I don't sell tires and rims, but I have a business associate that sells tires and rims, and I can put a link on my webpage to this tire store. And the tire store in return says, okay, and if somebody comes in here and they're looking to buy a used car, I'll put a link to your used car website on my tire store website. We're not competing, the used car store and the tire store aren't competing for business, but we can share our customers that have an interest in potentially related domains. And what that does is it greatly reduces our customer acquisition costs. Customer acquisition costs are a big deal in marketing campaigns, in any kind of brick and mortar or web-based marketing campaigns. And there's usually a definite cost associated with the average acquisition of one new customer. It ranges anywhere from $100 per customer to $1,000 per customer, depending on the market. It might be more in, say, if I'm selling high-end cars, it might be reasonable to spend $1,000 to acquire a new customer. If I'm selling low-cost items, it might not be reasonable to spend $1,000. I might be struggling to pay $100 to acquire a new customer. One general rule of thumb is that you should recover your acquisition cost in sales within the first year. So if I have somebody buying $5 items, but they buy 25 of them in the first year, then I can probably justify a $100 customer acquisition cost because I'm going to recoup that investment in the first year, and if the customer keeps coming back, then it's all better profit for me after that. Another factor involved in alliance marketing is it allows us to do targeted or personalized advertising. So we look at searches that you do and what pages you viewed on other websites, and we use that to market items specifically based on your interest or what our algorithms determine are your interest. Sometimes this works really well, sometimes it goes a little bit awry. I'll tell you a personal story about me and my mother wanted to buy a pair of women's shoes, and she could only get them online, but she wasn't comfortable making the purchase herself. So she asked me to make the purchase for her. So I made the purchase for her, And now on every web page I go to, I get advertisements for women's shoes. I'm unlikely to ever buy another pair of women's shoes online. That was a one-time thing, but the algorithm shows that that was a product I was interested in, and so now it shows me, and there's so many women's shoes out there, there's a lot of people competing for that marketing value, so I get bombarded with all these irrelevant ads for women's shoes. And somebody's paying for those ads, and they have no chance of garnering a sale. So that's targeted marketing gone awry, and somebody's paying the price for that. But we want to leverage those alliance marketing opportunities to promote our website. Another thing we can do is leverage large product distribution networks to try to reduce what we call the immediacy problem. Immediacy is the sense that when I buy something in a brick and mortar store, I have it available to hold in my hand right now. If it's a toy, I can take it out of the box and play with it. If it's clothing, I can put it on and wear it. When I buy things online, that's not always the case. In the early days of online sales, most websites sold products that were actually contained in a specific brick and mortar store. And the delivery time for these products was generally in the 2 to 3 week range. So if I want to wear, it's Monday and I want to buy a dress to wear at a event that I'm going to on Friday, chances are I'm not going to be able to do that online early in the advent of web sales, because it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks to get it. So I suck it up and I pay a higher price to buy the dress in the brick and mortar store so that I can actually wear it on Friday when it's important to me. But if we use these distribution networks, we may be able to overcome that lag, or at least a good portion of that lag in product delivery. And what these distribution networks do is they have warehouses all over the country, and they allow you to sell products positioned in any of those warehouses. And so they can tell you, based on what warehouse is closest to the customer, how long it's going to take to deliver the product. So instead of 2 to 3 weeks, we can realistically and reliably have products delivered to our customers in 2 to 3 days, even if you have a customer in New York City and they're buying from a firm in California. The distribution warehouse might be in New Jersey, and so they can get it to New York City in 2 days. And so if we leverage those distribution networks, we can minimize the impact of the immediacy factor that causes people to go to brick and mortar stores instead of online, utilizing an online website. So, important thing to do. So those are 5 steps that we want to consider when we're trying to market our website and make sure that people know it's out there and use it. So 2 types of marketing that I'm going to talk about specifically related to the online environment. The first one is a principle we call buzz marketing. And buzz just basically means people are talking about your product or your website. Either one is good. We want them to talk about the product, but only if it drives them to our website. We don't care if they talk about a product and it drives them to somebody else's website. We need it to drive the customer to our website. Buzz marketing is often characterized as a random thing that you can't control. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's a grassroots effort. It's people that start talking about something and nobody's really tried to push them to talk about it. It just happens. But there are ways that we can create buzz that generally will help us to make our website get noticed and sell our products. So we have 6 buttons of buzz that I'm going to talk about briefly. The first one is you can have something on your website that's somewhat taboo or a little bit controversial, a little bit edgy, but everybody wants to check it out. You have to be careful when you try to do something that's a little bit taboo, You have to make sure you're careful that you don't cross the line into offending your target audience. So, not really that Saturday Night Live is marketing to anybody, but they do want people to come to their website so that they can see advertisements. But Saturday Night Live has been doing a series of sketches recently spoofing members of the Trump administration. And so the Secretary of Education, the White House press secretary, folks of that nature. They've been spoofing these folks in some pretty funny skits. And there's some controversy about those. If you had a website and your target audience was the conservative Republican base, you might not want to highlight sketches like that because it's likely to offend those people. However, if your focus is, your target audience is a much broader area where you have a lot of Democrats or more liberal Republicans, then they probably would see a lot of humor in that. It's still controversial, but it's okay because you're not going to overtly offend your target audience. You can have something unique or unusual that you do on your website. Maybe you offer accessories for a product that other people don't have, and that might create some buzz and get people to come. If there's people that want those accessories, they'll tell their friends, and so it creates a buzz around the accessories that you offer. Maybe you just have good, a lot of websites create buzz by video taping product reviews where they demonstrate using the product. And so everybody wants to see that, and they say, if you're thinking, you'll tell your friends, if you're thinking about buying one of these, go check out this video on such and such site. And so that creates some buzz. You can do something remarkable. You can have an extraordinary feat, or sometimes it's an extraordinary feat that kind of sounds that way, but when you check out the details, it's really not that big of a deal. For example, let's say we had a website and we're selling food products or something, and we said, we've ended hunger in this town through our civic engagement. And you go and look at the town, and it's a town of 1,000 people with fairly affluent economic status, and there's really 30 people, 6 families or 8 families with 30 people that had problems with hunger, and so we provided food to these 30 people. And we can claim that, we ended hunger in this one little town. It wasn't really that big of an effort, but it sounds good. It sounds like we did something extraordinary. And so sometimes it's all in the way we deliver the message. You could provide a warranty or exceptional service. Nordstrom's is well known for its exceptional service standards. There's a famous Nordstrom's case where one of their customers had some tires on their car, and they'd had them on there for a while and worn them down pretty good, decided they didn't like the tires, and returned them to Nordstrom's. And Nordstrom's was more than happy to give the customer store credit for the value of the substantial value of the tires. It was over $1,000. I don't remember what the amount was. But the real kicker there is Nordstrom's doesn't sell tires. And so the tires didn't come from Nordstrom's, but Nordstrom's was able to look at this customer's purchase history and said, wow, this is a really good customer. They buy a lot of stuff. We're just going to do this for them anyway to earn some goodwill and make sure they continue to shop with us. So that would be a pretty extraordinary service standard. Sometimes, going back to my used car example, let's say on my website for my used car dealership, I say, I'm going to give you a 10-year warranty on every used car we sell, which sounds pretty good until you read the warranty and find out there's really only 3 components out of the 10,000 components on the car that are covered. But we can make it sound pretty remarkable on our website. 3 more buttons of buzz to consider. You can do something that's a little bit outrageous, but if you're going to do something outrageous, you probably want to make sure it connects to your brand. Red Bull energy drinks are pretty famous for some of the outrageous marketing things they do. They have an event that they put on multiple times a year, actually, where they have people that create these flying machines or potentially flying machines, and they run them off a ramp and see how far they fly before they crash into a lake down at the bottom. And Red Bull gets a lot of buzz marketing off of those events because everybody wants to see these crazy flying contraptions and the almost certain doom that they suffer when they try to launch off this ramp. And they do a good job of connecting the events to their brand name. You could do something hilarious, make something very funny to your target audience. Again, going back to the Saturday Night Live skits, that may be a good example of being both hilarious and a little bit taboo. And so we can use several of these things together, which is the last thing that is listed down here. You can do some of them together. So you make something that's hilarious to your target audience, but keep in mind it may offend some customers. So you want to be judicious in how you implement that. And lastly, you can use secrets on your websites to create buzz. You can create buzz by keeping a secret and saying, I have a secret and I'm not going to reveal it, but you might look around the website and you might find some clues as to what that secret is. You might be able to figure it out yourself. Give somebody a challenge, they want to do it, they'll get their friends involved in trying to help figure it out. And so that can be a good way to create buzz. Another good way might be to say, I'm revealing a secret. I'm going to reveal a great secret of life to you, but in order to get this secret of life, you have to do A, B, and C. And maybe that involves buying something, maybe it doesn't. But either way, we can create some buzz either through advertising that we're keeping secrets or advertising that we're revealing some important secret. And again, we can combine some of these effects for greater impact. So, two types of marketing that are pretty much central to the online environment, viral marketing and buzz marketing. So viral marketing is essentially a technique whereas we give away a product or service. We may not give it away entirely for free. Maybe we just sell it at a price that's significantly below its normal retail value. And when we give something away, we're hoping for some delayed gratification as the website operators. We're expecting that those customers will appreciate that we gave them something of value and that they'll be reciprocal and come back and buy stuff off our site. There's actually a lot of research that shows that customers feel guilty if they get something for free or at a reduced price. They want to do something to make it equal with the vendor. And so they will come back and buy things from the website to try to create some sense of equilibrium between themselves and the website. They don't want to feel indebted. They want to make that equitable. And so they appreciate what you do, and they want to help you out in return. When we do something, we give something away, or we sell it at a reduced price, we want to make sure that you tell your friends about it and your colleagues. So we need to make it easy. We need to make simple messages. A lot of times these are just text-based advertisements. We want to make it simple and easy to send that message to everyone. And so the common user is very adept at sending a text message, sending a basic email message. But if I have a multimedia message that has several components, the customer might not be very experienced at sending that to their people, and it may hinder our viral marketing efforts. So keep your messages, your viral marketing messages, brief, and make it easy for people to forward to their friends and colleagues and associates. Once you do that, you better be able to handle the load that you get to your website. So you need to be able to scale from a small website to a large website. If you don't scale, your site's going to crash when you get overloaded, and you're going to lose the viral marketing opportunity and maybe some additional customers that get frustrated along the way. So how do you scale from small to large? The primary means of doing that these days is to leverage a online web service provider, somebody like Amazon Web Services or Rackspace, or two of the biggest. Salesforce.com is actually another large web hosting provider that typically people tend to think of them in terms of human resources management and things of that nature, but they're a huge web hosting operation as well. And so since these companies specialize in providing online infrastructure, they have the capacity to scale your site very quickly. If you have 3 computers that are sharing the load of displaying your website to customers, and you need to scale from 3 to 150, that might be very hard for you to do internally in your company. It might require running additional electrical power to your data center, running additional cooling capacity, buying hardware, installing hardware, running network cable, all those things. Amazon Web Services, you can call them and say, hey, I need 150 copies of this web server and I need them right now. And Amazon Web Services says, sure, no problem, we can do that. What's your credit card number? They're happy to provide it. They have the capacity available to scale to fit your needs. Another thing we want to do in viral marketing is we want to exploit common motivations and behaviors that cause people to do things. People are greedy. If you give them something at a reduced cost, they're likely to jump on that. Now, I'm guilty of that a lot of times. I'll buy from online vendors things that I don't even need just because it's on a great sale. And I figure I'll eventually figure out what the need is for the product. But sometimes I catch myself and say, no, I can, instead of saving $20, I can not buy this at all and save $45. But greed is important. People want to get a good deal, and they want to get in on a good deal even if they don't need it. Popularity and status kind of go hand in hand. They're a little different, but they're kind of related. Good examples of this, there's a lot of exotic sports cars like Ferrari and Ford makes the F40, and they've made them very exclusive. So if you want to be one of the club that gets access to these exotic sports cars, if you can do that and gain access to it, you're going to pay full price because it gives you a status amongst your community of fellow car collectors or sports car enthusiasts. Ferrari is actually being sued by over their latest car because it's a limited edition car, and there's people that have large collections of Ferraris that weren't offered an opportunity to purchase one, and they feel like they've been slighted, and the company has singled them out in error, and so they're suing Ferrari over that. Ford, with their F40, they require you to write an essay explaining why you deserve to have one and how you've demonstrated your loyalty and enthusiasm for Ford Motorsports over the years. And you have to do that to be eligible to buy one of their cars. Another thing you might do in viral marketing is you should do, I guess I should say, in viral marketing, is you want to use existing communication networks. And by using existing communication networks, we mean that the people that are going to share your viral marketing message, they already have established connections with friends, colleagues, family, people of that nature. They already communicate with those people on a regular basis, so we want them to use those channels to communicate and spread the viral marketing message. We don't want them to have to start meeting new people to spread the message. We want to leverage those existing communication networks. And lastly, we want to take advantage of other people's resources. We want to get other firms, other websites to advertise our viral marketing campaign on our behalf. How do we do that? One way might be, let's say we have a new technology product. It would be very easy for us to write a story about our own technology product because we know it very well. And then we'll give that that technology story to somebody at CNET. It's a big technology site, and we say, hey, CNET reporter, here's a story you can post if you want about this new product we have. Well, the CNET reporter is just like every other worker in the world. They're overwhelmed, they got too much to do, and they say, you know, rather than sitting here and writing my own story about something, I can post this story that somebody handed me, and as long as it seems reasonably principled, it doesn't have lies in it, and it's not too skewed in one direction, I'll post it and be a vehicle for this viral marketing campaign. So those are all ways that we can engage other people's resources in our viral marketing campaign. The whole idea is to get the message, we release the message, and people spread it for us. I must have missed through the buzz marketing one, so let me go back here to the buzz marketing. The goal of buzz marketing is to get people talking about, oh, I did do that one, didn't I? Okay, I guess that was all I had for you today. So you should be able to take the quiz online now, and all you need is the password for the quiz. And the password for the quiz is there on the screen. I'll leave that up for 2 or 3 minutes.